possible to gain 2 points of stress?
Yeah, absolutely. You can say how many you want. Yeah. We'll do that next time, though. Don't worry about it. All right, what do we think?
Is this the end of the milestone?
Yes, you all level up. This is your milestone. Aren't you guys excited? This was your milestone.
I had to kill someone.
Trauma, stress, and murder. Yeah, you have all leveled up. We'll do that all separately. But I wanted to get our little after show. What's going through everyone's mind? What's everyone thinking?
Level 5 now?
Level 5.
No.
Pissed off at Elijah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not doing...
Literally, this whole thing probably could have gone like a totally separate direction if it was done like safely and in like a very discreet manner.
Maybe he didn't tell Elias.
Bro, you want to know what the safest method could have been?
Oh yes, not going.
Yeah! No, I'm kidding. That's the whole point. I don't know what I would have done if you guys said you weren't going to go, because this is the turning point of the story. I've now locked you in, and you cannot escape.
I'm kind of curious. What would have happened if like someone else had gone to the confessional booth? You know, if we had worded things differently.
What if
we were like actually discreet about everything?
The only reason that he listened is because it was me, and not someone.
Well, we don't know that.
I think that is partially. Now that we're done, I can say it. I think that is partially correct, because I think the first thing he thought was, first, someone knows, and second, I either am going to have to kill this person or convince them. And who better to convince than someone who is as parallel to your beliefs as you get?
So you're saying he would have killed Chris? Or tried to convince her?
Guaranteed, Chris, you would have died. 150%.
I don't think I would have. Because I gotta remember that the conversation probably would have happened completely differently, depending on who was in the booth.
But the downside to it was, unfortunately, that he was not going to let you walk away. That is the thing. So it would have essentially been, you would have had to agree to his terms and sit there and wait for Kerbin to come pick you up. For him to even think about letting you go. Which, good on you. You didn't let that be a choice. We all suffered a little bit for it, but I applaud your desire to not join a cult.
Yeah, what's up with everyone else and being like, yeah, okay. Especially Rena, what the fuck?
As for Rena, how do you think that would have gone?
I think yours would have gone a little more rocky, because I think, unfortunately, Elias knows you as a person, but not necessarily as like a person. He knows where you spend your time. He knows what you like. That's it. He doesn't know what drives you, what makes you who you are. Elijah, he has essentially Elijah to him is just a squishy sponge. He just gets to kind of reach in and go, because unfortunately Elijah is like the perfect person to convince. I think for you it would have gone a bit easier up until the point where he said that you guys were all being transferred, at which point I think that would have kind of been where things went the same.
Well, you're going off of that based on, oh yeah, I'm going to tell him that fucking Elijah and Chris know about it. Like,
yeah, again,
I would not have said that.
That's true.
The information of oh yes, there are also 2 other people here.
Yeah, that is true. That kind of fucked things. That did kind of fuck things. But I will say as well, you were all also in the same building.
I was trying to make it casual. But
I know, but I think we would have gotten out like way quicker.
I think so.
As well.
But I think for me specifically, the whole putting together his spell list, the primary goal for him was to not let you leave. So I put everything, literally, like, when it came down to actual combat, he had 1 damaging spell. And that was it. Everything else was for him to be able to move faster.
Yeah, no, most of my damage came from
Elijah. I think, primarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like, everything that I had for every single spell he had was movement based, save for Shocking Grasp and the bow. But even that one was partially a movement based thing of incapacitating. So it was.
I only lost like 3 damage from that. So.
Yeah, no, it doesn't do much damage.
The gun, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I was going to say, be grateful that he I did not give him the spell that Jeremiah had, because I think that could have very easily just dropped you off it, like right off the bat.
Yeah, that's why I asked for a gun, because I have spells that
modify firearms.
Yeah, so like I need that.
It's not like Rita was going to join, but she just was thinking about it, and she's like,
the fact that you thought about it was like, what the fuck?
We don't know their backstory. We can't assume yet.
He just said he would kill people.
He said he was a genocidal maniac.
That's why she was conflicted. At first, when Elias was talking about it, she was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
like very similar to IKR.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. Like, into, and that could have been something that Keon would have been a part of, and that's when he started talking about mass genocide, and that's where she got conflicted.
Yeah, and then it was like, now wait a minute.
No,
wait a minute.
I can't really do that.
What about
and then, out of desperation, she proclaimed that she was going to join as long as she would stop burning alive.
Yeah. I think out of everyone who was like harmed the most mentally out of this, how's Elijah doing?
Not very well.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
I watched the man that I look up to like a father get put down like a dog, and then kind of realized that I might be a little bit of a shitty person.
This is all your fault ringing through his head every time.
Yeah. That and the fact that, this isn't just, something that Elijah cared about. It's everything that he knew.
Yeah, it's him as a person.
Came partially from his parents, but mostly from Father Elias. And, now that's all not a lie, but
was a little perverted, was a little twisted around.
So that's,
not great.
The entirety of everything that Elijah knows is now
kind of not necessarily like gone, but I would say like up for questioning.
Yeah, it's all up in the air on what's real and what's not.
Yeah, which is interesting as well, because like part of me kept like trying to get you to throw a bone to them to like be convinced sooner, but I think part of me like kind of feels like someone who has lived that for so long would not be swayed really by anything. Like that is the equivalent of like being taught for all of your life that 2 + 2 is 4, and then
I would argue against that, and the reason why is because of the fact that even though Elijah had been in that like world for such a long time, Elijah has never seen death before, or the threat of death, basically in that context.
I think,
not to mention the few religious bangers I dropped.
Yeah.
And I mean, unfortunately, that is just kind of how religion is as a whole. You spend.
And also, again, the one thing I pointed out: kinetics were never mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah, what the hell?
Not real. There is.
He could have just made. He could have made a claim that there were evidence.
Jesus was a kineticist.
There's evidence to those in the Bible that
are listed
are
in the Bible?
Probably
not any that could be classified as a kineticist.
Yeah.
Blindness, maybe. Curing blindness could be.
Turning water into wine.
That one's a little far-fetched.
Walking on water.
Walking on water is one of them.
Yeah,
but anyways.
Splitting the Red Sea.
That one also fits.
That is a high-level hydrokinesis.
Night never spent. But I think
you could say building an ark. Honestly, could be classified as using my magic telekinesis.
But I feel like
that's like saying Jesus is a JoJo stand. Has a JoJo stand.
Jesus is a JoJo.
He's a JoJo. He's a JoJo.
He's literally a JoJo.
I'm not going to get into all that because that would require me essentially disproving religion, and I'm not going to do all that. That's a lot of chips to put into a D&D campaign. But I think that was the most interesting outcome for that fight, rather than like, the sort of like heroic, like, oh, I've realized I'm a fool, let me help you guys. But essentially like spending the whole fight being against you up until the very end, I feel like is arguably the most religious person you could ever see. Someone who believes something until the day they die.
It was so sad to see Elias get fucking old yellered. That was crazy.
That's fucked up, man.
I mean, they probably saying that anyone that we catch is not, they're not gonna let live.
At this point, Elijah basically did die. As soon as he put that
He's
gun
reborn.
to his
Yeah,
chin.
there's nothing left, yeah.
Reborn, going to be rebirthed into a phoenix rising from the ashes.
As for the idea that they don't intend to take prisoners, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think outside of being in campaign, I think unfortunately they came in, saw two people that were fucked up, one person that was like trying to cause someone harm, and then a dude who was basically fully hell-bent on just causing damage. And I think at that point they kind of saw someone who was just going to harm people no matter what. Especially with the idea of now that his two primary targets were gone, rather than spending everything to leave, he chose to take that time to try and take someone else with him.
Yeah.
Which, if you see someone do that, you kind of... Cool, that dude is not inclined to go quietly. He is intending to do this until he either stops...
He was praying! I fucking got him on his knees and he started praying, so I thought he was going to be arrested.
No.
And fucking God. It was so crazy. Like, she was... Yeah, she kept thirsting over him, but it was still like...
Hey, well, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's one of those things where it's like you spent so long seeing someone as a particular person that even if it's like, oh, they're a bad person, it's still like, yeah, but I don't know, like they saw them and they were really cool.
She was still greatly influenced by
by him, yeah.
by Father Elias. To see someone so influential crumble like that is just so crazy.
Yeah.
And it's all and all her headspace is just like, if I followed directions, if I followed, the rules, we wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
So my fault.
This is going to have lasting mental problems.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yippee!
And just to, again, contribute to killing someone.
Yeah.
It's just...
But that always comes down to the idea of, are you willing to maintain your innocence and honor versus letting someone else be killed?
Like, she's killed animals by accident, which is why she's like, I don't want to talk about my necrokinesis powers because all I can do is kill. Which, in using her necrokinesis to kill someone again, to kill a human, someone she looked up to,
it brings back a lot of not great feelings.
Yeah.
And I think even if it was something where you were like, yeah, I'm doing this in defense of other people, it's still, I think that, that's just something that happens to people in general. The idea of taking someone's life in defense or not is still painful.
So she's gonna lose a handful of, or she's gonna lose some sleep to this.
No way. She's gonna have a good rest.
No, she's not.
She's gonna have a good night's sleep.
No. She's not. She's already insomniac. She's already an insomniac.
Oh yeah, by the way, did you start at 3/4 health?
No, I forgot.
That's okay. You still would have been okay, I think.
Yeah, I think 3/4. I think I'd be at 20 something.
God damn, I forgot that you have a lot more HP than they do.
I'm at 27.
Yeah.
I probably would have been at 19, 20 something.
Why are you at 27?
It comes with their class. Each of the classes has a different health amount. So a lot of the classes that are low movement have a lot less health. So electrokineticists are typically lower health.
With a lot more movement, you mean?
Essentially, more mobility. It's essentially the idea of mobility means less tanky.
Yeah, I know, but you said less movement.
Oh, my bad.
That's why I have 20 health.
More mobility typically leads to, less mass. And so a lot of electrokineticists do not have a whole lot of health. Also, by the way, I just wanted to... The fight's done, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. First, I was fully expecting everyone to just be like, yeah, cool, this guy's kind of a bad person. And just start hitting him with everything. So he originally had 200 HP. That wasn't going to work. Because I have a feeling he would have killed you all before you did any sizable amount of damage.
Yeah.
Because he ended with 70, and that's where I killed him. So, fun stuff.
I just don't have a lot of things that cause damage, so...
Yeah, that's fair. Especially, that's the thing with D&D early on, is it's for the first 4, 5, or 6 levels, it's a lot of okay, I have to plan things out, I have to rely on this.
No gun either, so...
The absolute max I can do is 66 damage, and that's...
That's a lot.
That's still a lot.
That's still a lot.
It's a lot, but it's not 200.
No, yeah.
I think the max damage I could probably do is probably
Yeah. So right now you guys are in the growing pain. You guys are in the growing pain zone of your spells don't hurt a lot, but you have a lot of utility at those lower levels, because that's kind of how D&D typically works. Is Misty Step is a first level because you're going to use it a lot, that sort of thing. But as you guys get into the higher levels, I have a feeling you guys are going to find it is going to be hard to...
Our damage dealer was on the opposite.
Yeah, that is also your biggest issue, was that your main fighter was currently in the middle of being religiously brainwashed.
You're actually pretty lucky that because I had swapped out some spells.
Oh no.
So I did...
Wait, what? You swapped out some spells?
Before combat, I assume.
Yeah.
Before combat?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the
Good.
day.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine you would, but...
Yeah, so I got Branding Smite, which I realized wasn't going to be super useful. And then Green Flame Blade, which requires a melee weapon attack.
Yeah. So I think that's the other thing as well, is I think you guys are learning that you can't just rely on spellcasting. At least right now.
I can.
Yeah. But having the ability to make a weapon, having the ability to make a weapon just passively without having to have something in your hand is great.
Yeah.
I think I get one of those.
I have a few, but I have to have a melee weapon.
Have to have a melee weapon. Yep. But to be fair, it's the modern age. You have access to all sorts of shit as a melee weapon.
I did have a Reaper's Fist, but I didn't think it'd do that much.
Something I didn't know is that with the smites, some will clarify that it has to be a melee weapon attack, and others clarify it only has to be a weapon attack. So you can
do ranged smites.
Weapons.
Yeah. In Baldur's Gate, Karlach has access to that as a tiefling. She has access to Branding Smite, which is ranged. But yeah, any final thoughts? Any fun final thoughts?
Did Rosa and Elijah officially break up? Was that it?
I think that was it, bro.
I think that will be up to Elijah.
That's gonna be a few good rolls downtime to fix that shit.
Oh, there's no rolls there. That's not rolls. That's outright convincing someone that I promise I'm a good person.
I shot at my teammates, but I promise.
I shot at my teammates, and I may or may not have started trying to walk down the path of someone who was, at minimum, a genocidal maniac, at maximum, just kind of all around a genuinely horrible person. So, yeah, but I promise I still care about you. But yeah, anyone else have any final thoughts before I turn the recording off?
No.
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 No. Everyone, they're all reeling.
It's kind of fun.
I can see all the looks on their faces.
I almost cried. I don't know if you hear my voice shaking, but
Yeah.
I think Cody did cry a little bit.
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to put a trigger warning on this episode because someone tried to kill themselves.
I saw
No.
I saw them crying and I was getting emotional because it was like, Father Elias, no!
Yeah.
Oof.
I cried real tears over this, so leave a like and comment
Shut the
below.
fuck. Get the shut the fuck.
Smash that like button.
Oh, shut
Hit
up.
subscribe.